talk?
Yes.
Okay, okay, that's perfect. Okay. All right. So as I said yesterday, so we are trying to show, looking at a web application, so which will runs on so Apache Tomcat environments. Apache is the environment so which we are using for to run this the application, right? So and for this, so mainly I'm using JSPs and servlets, but in the backend related operations, I mean to say, so when you are trying to performing any operations which are related to database, which I'm performing, so using Spring JDBC concepts. Okay, using JDBC we are trying to performing all the various operations like insert, update and delete and then select operations are being done from using Spring JDBC concepts. So absolutely we are also using the core concepts as well, right? And I'm using this for STS. So the STS is for the launching of the application. Okay, you can deploy the same application in any server. Hopefully everybody knows that, right? So our application is whatever the application that we are building, or so that is independent to your server, right? So later point of view time, if you want to deploy in any another server, you can go ahead and then deploy your application. Let me show you. So looks like so there are some errors. So let me find out why there is some problems. Might be downloading some jars related to Tomcat. I hope yesterday we added everything. Okay, Pramod is also back into the session. It's good. Okay, so it is just setting up the build path. So once if it is done, so I will run the app. Okay, so I will deploy the application and let me show you the view. So am I shared you this project or not yet? Did I share you yesterday? Okay, anybody tried and then deployed or able to access the application? Okay, also let me show you that so we are using a database called MySQL database, and let me see whether I have a proper database configuration information or not. Okay, so if I don't have a proper database configuration details, so I may not properly connected to the system, right? So let me do that changes. Yesterday we have changed, right? Why still it is okay? It is not saved somewhere. Pramod, so you are able to deploy the application and able to access it? No. Okay. Sure. Okay. So now all the errors are gone automatically. So yeah, no problem. If you're not tried also, let me try to show you. So I think looks like let me set up the database also. I know that so we don't have any database configurations as of now. So I'll try to configure here. So we are injecting data source. Let me go to SRC main resources. I have a spring config bank.xml file. In this configuration file, let me see which database I am accessing. Spring HPDB, but we are not using that database right now. We are using Java Learning DB is our database, right? So let me point to that database. Okay, I'm changing this, and the username, URL, and passwords are everything is the same. So we are injecting. So this all steps you are well known about it. So while inserting, so which table I'm inserting? So I'm inserting to bank. So let me add a date table name called bank. So these are all the prerequisite setup, so you have to do at your system as well, please. So let me create a new table. Create. So what column so that I'm using? Let me show you. It's the name of our columns. Update. Okay, so I'll go to here in update. First two. Okay, so first one is like account number. Okay, then account holder name. So account number, basically that should be integer column, right? So let me choose like it's an integer column, and that is a primary key. It should not be not null. Okay, and should be given by the users, or you can also use an auto incrementer if it is not supplied. So the next column is so account holder name, right? So let me mention that name. So ACC account holder name. Okay, so this is varchar, so 80 some length, and this should also not null. And so finally account balance, bank balance, like how much balance of the customer. So let me add balance. So you can add many other columns, but I am only adding some of them. So you can choose double also. Okay, that's it. Create a new table. What is the name? Is bank. I'm having a bank. Table is created successfully. Do you want to add more tables? I said no. So bank is ready now, right? So bank is ready. So now what we can do, we can try to so use this database, right? So now let me run the application, let me deploy it and then access. I'll go to here, run as, right? So I'm running directly on the server. So right click, run as, run on server, and choose the server which you want to deploy it. Choose the server manually because the first time might not selected automatically. Choose Apache Tomcat. So the version which we are using is 7.0. Okay, your details are being selected. Next. So here is your WAR file is generated and which is deploying into the server, and finish it. Okay, and watch the console. So watch the console. So my firewall is blocking this. I'll access it. I'm explicitly saying that access this. Again access it. Okay, looks like application is deployed, and then so the home page is being launched. I don't want to access in this Eclipse browser. I'll close this. I'll open in our Google browser. So let me open this here and then I'll access Apache Tomcat. I'm accessing the application. So here is your application homepage. So, and what I'm doing is the whole web page I'm dividing into two parts. Okay, and this is the concept is being done using HTML frames concepts, This is the first frame, this is the second frame. For the first frame, I allocated some amount of the space. Okay, this is the 30% of the space which I allocated. The 70% of the space is given for display activities. For the links, I have given this. So you can design your much more nice way. So that's up to you. I'm just trying to showing you here, and I'll go to click on all bank account details. So I think still I should be having some problem. Why? Because previously my project name is different and this project is different, because in some couple of places I have used a project context. Okay, I should get an error. I have not replaced that. So here I'm getting an error because it is referring the previous context part. So I should need to change this. Have to change this. How? So let me search first of all how many places that is being used. I would like to replace that. So let me search with this name. How many places it is? Star.star. So search in all the files. Okay, looks like it's a 15 matches. Okay, so 15 matches, I think. So couple of places I actually using this. So I'll try to figure it out. This. What is this? Okay. So okay, let me clean this project now. So I'll clean this guy. So using Maven. Okay. First, let me change this, and then so I'll go ahead and then change. So now my project context name is this, not that, because we have changed our project name. Because when I'm submitting actions, I'm using the project context name also. So you can change this. So absolutely it is not required. Actually, you can pull the dynamic context name also, but I have written. Okay, so I'll change it to in every place wherever it is there. Okay, I think so. In the bottom is not required actually. In the pom.xml file we have changed right yesterday. Why this is still pointing? Okay, so I have changed everywhere. Okay, and let me so clean this project first of all. Okay, now if you see the our new project is automatically deployed. I'll do Maven clean. So I don't know if you observed or not, it is automatically deployed into the server. Okay, I'm just cleaning to delete the old configurations. Let me search, is there anywhere again this context has been still sitting? I am hoping yes or no. Okay, so now looks like application is already deployed. So okay, see here. So now let me try to launch this application again. Still I'm just refreshing. Yes, now it is pointing to the new. Automatically the your changes has been reflected. So now if I click on this, why there is an error? Okay, because it looks like class not found error. Why we are getting? Because looks like it's not properly done deployment. Maybe JSPs are deployed, but so it's always better to clean and then build it and then deploy. So let me go back. Okay, so do one more round of clean and then deploy it. try to refresh everything. Clean all our projects, because somewhere context, everything will be cleaned and then new files will be generated. Okay, for this project I'll perform Maven clean. Okay, Maven build or Maven install, everything is okay. So it will generate your WAR file. Okay, this will generate your WAR file, and then you can still why there is an error in the code. Cannot. Okay, so okay. So it is saying that so you are okay deploying the application, so using so we are not using server libraries, right, in the form.xml file, so it is unable to identify the servlet details. So let me okay, let me run this again. Let's see. I'll enable the server view. Okay, pull down to the bottom. So here is our Apache Tomcat. Okay, I will try to add again. Finish it. Okay, so clean. Again, I'll republish it. If it is anything, it will automatically do. Okay. Okay, so now everything is done. So let me run the server now. I'll start the server. Let's see what will happen. Okay, server is started. So let's go to access the application. Okay, now I'm accessing the application. Yes. Okay, so just the clean and build issues. Just clean and build issues are okay. So now it is done. So if you see here right now, we don't have any okay customers in this bank, right? Because just a database is created, we don't have any data. The select SQL is fired and there is no data. So and you're able to see there is no records found, right? And you can still add one by one, and you can still open a new accounts. Then the moment if you add a new account, so you should be able to see the account holder details, right? Suppose so, and I gave you a couple of links, and so backend in the select query is already fired. Okay, select query is already executed, and then so and there is no return data is found, right? Now if I go to the new accounts, so again, so we are adding a new account. So here I'm simply as, as expecting to pass the few details like account number, account holder name, and how much bank balance with that you want to open accounts. Like let's say account number, I want to use some fancy number like 1001, and account holder name anybody can. So I'll give you your names. So like I'll enter Amit Kumar. Okay. Like let's say he is maintaining bank balances 50,000, and add accounts. The moment if you add this, so it should call your Spring JDBC, then it should perform the insert operation. Okay, let's do add accounts. You see here, successfully a row has been inserted into the database, and then okay, so you are able to see that entry here, right? So if you go to the database, if you do a refresh, and this is also the entry is being placed. How that is being done? With the help of Spring JDBC, your record is able to insert. Likewise, you can add as many number of the customers that you want. Okay, suppose I want to add so one more customer, so 102. Okay, I'll add uncle. Okay, so like let's say his bank balance is 60,000. Okay, dot maybe some 89. So then add it. His bank account is also created successfully, then so we are able to see it, right? So likewise I'll add all of your accounts. So let's add quickly 1003, account holder name Prashanti. Okay, so I'll add account balance is like 70,000. Okay, so some 49. So as it's a double column, so it should allows you to have an decimals as well, right? Again I go back and then add one more account, so 1004. Okay, Pramod Kumar. Okay, and so likewise I can add as many number of customers which I want, I can open for them. So 80,000. Okay, dot, so some, so one to some figure, anything. So the last account, so Sadanand. So let's add, so 1005, so Sadanand. I think I have written correctly, I hope. So and so this is like let's say 90,000. Okay, dot some, so 125 some figure. So add account. Now if you see here, all your accounts are added or not? All your accounts has been added. So and even if I go to the database, so from the front end we are able to insert all the records into the database, right? So different inserts has been done. Okay, so now if I want to open any new account, so you can also open. So another account like let's say 1006, account holder name is John Smith, some person. Okay, and then so is don't have any balance. Okay, and his account is opening the zero account. It's open, right? So that is about now if you go to all bank account details page, you are able to see all the list of customers that are belongs to this bank. So a new account we have already seen. So I have another link called transaction. Okay, suppose 1001, so the Amit is came and then he want to deposit some another 60,000 on his account. Okay, get account info. So once he shared his account number, right? So if you go to bank, so the bank employee will ask you what is your account number. The moment you shared your account number, okay, so the bank employee should able to fetch your account details. What is your latest balance? Okay, so your balance is 50,000. Like let's say he is going to be deposit so another 16,000 on his account. So then the whole balance has become 66,000. Okay, and he cannot edit the name. Okay, he cannot edit the account number because both are disabled. Only so as he's doing a transaction, only he can update his balance. Okay, as he's depositing, so his balance will be goes to positive. Then it is become 50 to 66,000. So now if you see here, his bank balance was already updated. If you go to all bank account details, so his balance 50,000 becomes 66,000. Right? Okay. So like let's say Prashanti wants to withdraw some 15,000 from her account. Okay. So go to transaction. So and she went to the bank and then give an account number 103, and so our details are being populated. So our current bank balance is 70,000. She is eligible to withdraw 15,000. Right. So it will become a 55,000. Right. So 55,000. And then so if I'm going to be update, so our bank balance should be updated, right? So likewise you can even perform the transactions on the application. Now if I go to delete account, suppose like let's say bank might be conducted a survey, like after so many years whoever is the customers are just opened account but they have not performed any transactions into their account. So the bank is decided to delete those accounts from their system because this customer is no longer useful. So they want to archive these customers, and we don't want to show them in the bank account details. So we want to delete from them. So for right now, I'm doing hard delete. Maybe in the real world they might delete soft deletes. Okay. So so if I go to delete account, so it will ask you to which account number would you like to delete. So the account number 1006 is the account, so does not maintain any balance since from so many days. So simply I'll go to here and then so I'll delete this 106. If I do delete accounts, so account is deleted successfully from the database. If I go to all bank account details, I see here I should not able to see the account 1006. Similarly, same thing should be reflected in the database as well. So I'm performing insert. So internally, if you look at actually what I'm been doing here, so insert operation, update operations, delete operations, select operation. That is what my intent of this application. So using Spring JDBC. Any questions regards to application?
Srini,
Yeah.
we can use Angular or JS to build a UI for that, right?
Completely your choice. Okay, how much the design that you want, you can do it. For right now I'm using HTML. Okay, HTML features, so you can use Angular, you can use Bootstrap, you can use whatever you want. You can build this application however you want. Okay, you can design, maybe I've used frames, so as you said, so you can use HTML. So Angular, you can use headers and then footer, so you can give left navigation, right navigation, so put login, logout. You can design however you want. So it's completely your choice. Okay. Any other questions? Sounds good. So moving on. Yes, Sada.
You just overall you just give a demo of how the project has been built, project demo, and but I just wanted to know internally of how the code was built. Can you please just
that is what my step. Exactly. Hold on. So okay, that's what my step next. So how the project is designed, how many files I have written, for which file. Okay, when I'm accessing this link, so okay, these links are coming from where. So if I access this link, so what file is calling, how the code is being executing, what code I have written, that is what main fundamental which I came. So, and before I want to directly show you the code, I want to show you the how our application is looks like. Then you can refer the code, how the code is been designed for this application. Okay. So now going back to the application explanation. So I think it is easy for you all to understand. So nothing is complicated, just basic servlets and JSP knowledge. and then so on top of that I'm using Spring Core and Spring JDBC. So the first thing, so if I go to SRC folder, I'm using servlets. You people know that if it is a servlets, the first step you need to register all your servlet in a web.xml file, right? Simply what I did, all my servlets are being registered under web.xml file. For each operations, each link which I am performing, I have written a separate servlet.
Srini, sorry
Select
to interrupt.
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to interrupting. Assume that even I would say frankly I'm not aware of servlets. Just so please just consider that I don't have any knowledge in servlets. Considering that please explain this. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so every servlet, so what whenever if you're writing, basically the servlets are the responsibility to perform any client and server interaction. So when you want to perform any client and server, so we have one of the server side popular technology called servlet. So using servlets, so you can interact between client and server. Okay, so your client can submit a request and server will receive that request and then process it. So who does this all by servlet? So whenever if you are writing any servlet, so servlet is also a Java class that should be registered in your web.xml file. Okay, so here is what servlet configuration, servlet mapping. Whenever you have written any servlet, every servlet should have their own servlet name, configuration, and mapping configuration. When you want to access servlet, so it should be accessed via this URL pattern, right? So likewise for every servlet, so this is for one servlet. Likewise, I have 5 servlets. So for all the 5 servlets, I have configured like this. All 5 servlets I have configured like this. So one is so select servlet, insert servlet, delete servlet, display account details servlet, and update bank account servlet. So these are the 5 servlets. So each associated servlet have the logical path name called URL pattern has been associated for all the this. And then the other thing is for if you are accessing a web application, okay, so directly, so when I'm accessing this directly, I'm getting the home page like this, right? How this is coming? With the help of welcome page. If you don't have a welcome page, and this will not be rendered, you need to mention which JSP is your welcome page or a home page, right? For that, I have given a welcome page is bankmenu.jsp. Bankmenu.jsp is my welcome page. If I go to bankmenu.jsp, so what I have actually written is nothing on this. So this is the place actually where I am dividing the HTML whole the web page divided into 2 columns. So that is being done using frame set. So here is my frame set. I want to have first column, then second column. For the first column, I have decided to use a space of 30%. Rest is you can mention 70 or you can also mention star. The star means out of 100%, it will goes to 30% is already been allocated. Star which represents 70%. Okay. So in the first column, what you want to refer is that is your first frame. In the second column, what you want to display, that is your second frame. In the first frame, I want to display all the links. In the second frame is my activity area. So whenever user performs any links on this, which I want to actually render the data in the second frame. So for the second frame, I just have given a name is F2 because right now I cannot display anything on this. And in the first frame, I want to display the links. So where I've written a links, I've written a page called JSP called list.jsp is a page. So if I'm loading that page into this particular frame, so I'm giving the reference of where is this page is located, the path of that page. So the path is in the same place, but the file name is different, list.jsp. Here is my list.jsp. And so here I'm preparing a right side the box, so that is your first column. And then so here is my body background color I'm setting. So these are all the font size and all other details. So here is the 4 links what I have added. So all bank account details, new account, transaction, delete account. So if you need any link in the future, you can still go ahead and add here how many links that you want, you can add all those links here. Another important thing is for href. Okay, so when you perform any link, basically the same page will be refreshed for to displaying your result, but I don't want. I want to display the data not in my first frame, I want to display in second frame. So if you want to, how do you represent that for to display in the second frame? There is an attribute called target attribute. Then you need to specify where you want to actually display. So that is in my second frame. So that is what, so whenever if I click on all bank account details, but execute all the backend details, but response should be displayed in the second frame but not on the first frame. So for that, so there is an attribute in anchor tag is called target attribute. So suppose example, if I don't have this attribute, okay, if I save this, if I try to refresh my page, if I click on all bank account details, it will render in the same page. That is what a general behavior you see in other applications, right? But when it comes to here, I don't want to be render in the same page. I want to render in a different frame. So if you make that changes, if I do refresh, it will render in the second frame because of only that attributes. Okay, that is about all your links, how we got. So when I access your home page, how you got that links. Now for each link I have given a respective action classes. So whenever they click on all bank account details, I am calling a select action. So this is my logical URL pattern, logical mapping. So it will search in our web.xml file, does anybody is matching with select action? Yes. Then it will pick up a servlet called select bank account servlet, because this logical name is matching, and then it will pick up the, so this logical name is belongs to this servlet, so then it will pick up the servlet bank account. So here is what I am doing. So I am preparing JDBC template object. So where I am doing actually, so the same thing which we have already learned this topic, so this concept. So here is my Spring configuration file. You know how do you get the data source by using driver manager data source, and that driver manager data source I am injecting to a class called data source IMPL is the class. Here is what I am injecting that. Now data source is available under data source IMPL. So this data source IMPL I am been accessing here. Here what I am doing, simply I am loading the Spring configuration file. So using Bean Factory, either you can use context or Bean Factory. So that is up to you, right? So I'm using Bean Factory. So I'm finding MySQL DS. So that is your data source IMPL class. I am retrieving it. So okay, data source class has been identified, and I1.getDB connection means, so that will returns me a data source, right? Because in the DB connection is the method where I have written. So I have written interface and then followed by implementation. Come on.
Actually, for maintaining collection pool, we can do this in Spring config XML as well, right? For maintaining collection pool.
Yes, yes, why not? Yes, you can do that also.
We are using only single connection, right?
Basically, a driver manager data source internally it uses the connection pool.
Okay.
Driver manager data source itself is used for connection pool only, right? Your driver manager, okay, driver manager is for single connection, that is for physical connection, right? So if you are using for data source means for connection pool only, right?
I don't have any idea.
Do you know that fundamentals? Okay. So basically data source, okay, is the connect, so which will be used for only connection pools. Okay, whenever there is a connection pool is configured from the connection pool, if you want to get an object, so that is become your data source. But whenever if you want to get without connection pool, if you want to get it, you can use driver manager. Driver manager is one approach, and second approach to get the connection is data source. Data source is your pooled connection. Okay.
So we can limit the number of connection in this.
Yes, you can do so many configurations. So you can limit, you can pass how many you want. So those are all the different attributes. So you can set it to your driver manager data source.
Because it's purely managed by this Spring.
Here, okay, here there is a property called connection properties. In this connection properties, you can set, okay, how many number of pooled connection you want, okay, what is the maximum limit so that you want to stay for your connection, all the, okay, so your pooled configuration, whatever you do, and you can configure all those things so you can pass for this attribute. Okay. So if you are not supplying anything, it will use the default pooled size and default maximum limit. So default, so the weightage of the SQL and everything will be given to the default details. Okay. All right. So now going back to here. So we are injecting a data source finally in JDBC template class. I am getting the data source. I am preparing the JDBC template object. Right. So finally you got JT object, you know, right? So once if you got this object, and then you can call the all the various methods, so then execute it. So simply here what I'm doing, I'm getting the JDBC template object. So we have already seen this method query for row set. So because I want to execute select star from bank, I want to know from all the customers. I'm executing select query, and so here you are getting a row set. I am even the designing of HTML also I'm doing within the subnet itself. Okay, I am designing this. I am iterating. So account number, account holder name, bank balance, current balance. That is what header. So what you are seeing here, right? Account number, account holder name, current balance. So here, and I am displaying one by one record. I am retrieving, and then I am displaying here, and then finally this whole design has been designed here in this subject. Okay, that is about your whenever if you perform any select all bank account details. So this is the servlet which will be called, and the JDBC template is being retrieved, and then from there this query being executed, and so this all HTML code is rendered, right? So any questions on this so far on related to select bank account details? Okay.
Just Srini, one question. Is SQL row set
Yeah.
and result set, what is the means like difference?
Do you understand? I have already explained.
You means like
Okay.
I want to know means like it's in which version it came actually SQL row set.
SQL row set, okay, it's a part of your JDBC, Spring JDBC. Okay, it is not part of your J2EE JDBC.
Okay, specific
Okay.
to
So as part of the Spring JDBC you have, but so when you go to your J2EE JDBC also we have, but it's not SQL row set, just it's a row set. So row set is a little so bit advanced concept than your result set. So we have discussed, if you remember, in our previous examples of which we have discussed about how do we execute, right? Query for row sets, the same query which I am using here, as nothing is new. So this query we have already seen. The row set is a bit advanced concept than your result set. So, result set is a database connected object, but whereas the row set is a database disconnected object. The moment so this query is being executed, still the data being holding under SQL row set, but whereas in result set is not like that. So once if your database connection is disconnected, your result set data will be vanished immediately. So that's what, so this JDBC is recommending to use. So row set instead of directly your result set objects.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one you can do in several ways. Okay, one is you can use SQL row set. The other one is you can use row mapper also. Right? If you remember, so yesterday I showed you the row mapper concept also. You can use it in various ways to retrieve the data from the server. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, any other questions from anybody on all bank account details? Nothing is complicated. Just to select what we are really looking at. Okay. So now moving on into the next one. So new accounts. So whenever if you click on new account, I'm accessing a page called new account.jsp. Okay. New account.jsp will be accessed. So where is new account.jsp? Here is new account.jsp will be accessed. So in this, so the moment, so this is opened up, so new account information. Okay, so let me open this. Now this JSP has been opened. New account information, account number, account holder name, bank balance. So here is the columns what I have written. Okay, so I've prepared a HTML form and where I have been writing, so account holder number, account holder name, bank balance. Okay, I've given an input field name 31, 32, 3. So these are all the different so input names which I have given. So the moment that you submitted all these details, it will carry over this particular name. So if you just add this, so it will submit with this action. So it will search in the web.xml file, does anybody registered, the servlet is registered with the name called insert action. Okay, so it will search in web.xml file. So is anybody has registered with insert action? Yes, and then it will open the associated servlets called insert bank account servlet. Okay, so insert bank account servlet is open from the request argument because you need to read all the params, account number, account name, bank balance. Simply I'm getting the JT object. JT.execute is the method to insert a records into the database. JT.execute, insert into bank and values, I'm inserting all these columns. There are several ways that you can insert. Okay, there are several ways so that you can insert. So JT.update also method you can use, then you can insert. Okay, and JT.execute also, so you can use for to insert. And this values either you can directly pass here, or the second approach is you can also pass as a params. You can also pass as a params. So and then so you can insert the records into the database. Okay. So you can try the rest of other options. I'm giving you this option, so the rest the other options so you can use to practice it. Okay, so the moment if it is executed, so every time I think so literally we have inserted 6 times, 6 accounts has been added, right? So the 6 accounts has been rendered here. So using this class. So and immediately what I am doing after inserting any record, immediately I want to forward or redirect my control to all bank account details, because immediately I should be able to see in the bottom whether that record is added or not. Right? So here is the redirection code. Using request dispatcher mechanism, I'm redirecting to the so the select actions servlet. Okay, that is about your new account. Any questions on the new account? So the my major important goal focus is to looking at the showing you at this methods.
Srini,
And
just to doubt. The
yeah.
request dispatcher is the concept of which one is a Spring or is a part of
All
Spring?
I have not used any features of the Spring framework feature to this line.
No, the last one that redirecting concept.
Exactly. So except this line, everything is related to just a J2EE concepts. Except that line, everything is J2EE concepts and so basics of your servlets.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So now moving on into the next is transactions. So if I go to the transactions, transaction.jsp will be open. So here is my transaction.jsp. So whenever if you want to perform any transaction, so what I'm doing, so if you access this link, so first step it will ask you to give your account number. Okay, share your account number. Suppose if I enter account number is 1005. So if you are doing get account info, there should be one servlet action. So one servlet action for to just to retrieve this data. And for update, there should be one more servlet action. So in the transaction, we are doing multiple actions. One action for retrieving the existing data from the bank database, and the second thing is we want to update the details, right? For to retrieval, so the moment you entered your account number, so I'm calling a servlet action name called so action. Again, it will goes to the web.xml file. It will check does anybody has registered with show action. So if you see here, there is a servlet which is associated with the name of so action. So that is your display account detail servlet, right? And if you open this, so here is what the code which I am writing. So simply I am using SQL row set again. So RS, so query for row sets, and previous SQL query if you see where I'm not using any where condition, but here I'm using where condition, where I'm passing the account number. So which account number that you want to find out. So whatever the account number which is coming from request parameter, which is submitted by the user, which is entered in that field, I'm reading it and I'm finding only that particular customer. So once that customer is been retrieved, because I know there will be only one customer with that ID, I'm not using while loop for retrieval, I'm using so simply if condition. Instead of this, so what code you can write if you recollect your previous knowledge? Okay, so instead of doing all this step, so you can use a concept of retrieving of one employee, right? So can you use this query for object where condition? Can you write a dynamic SQL query you can pass like this? So this approach we have already seen, so I'm trying to showing you the other way around. So but best practice purpose you have to use like this. So either you can get an employee object, then you can pose or pass it to pass into the various layers. You can use this, but right now I'm not passing to any other layers. So right now I'm hard coding everything in the display account servlet itself. So that's what I'm directly executing the query here, and so if condition I'm writing. Even you don't need to write this if condition and all if you use this row mapper concept, because directly that will return you your objects. But if you don't want to populate, you want to just get the object, so you will directly get the objects. So you will be getting as object from the object, so you can retrieve. So here what I'm doing, rs.next, I'm checking is it any record is returned or not. If the record is written, then what I'm doing is I'm preparing a edit form. Edit form is nothing but this form. So where the server returned values I need to populate into this particular forms, right? So simply I'm preparing a form here. So I'm populating, so rs.getString, so getString I'm setting. But if you see account number and account holder names are I'm marking as read only, because the bank employee should not permitted to edit these fields at the time of performing a transaction, because not authorized. So once if you are updating your name, you should wait to maybe some SLA2 until to activate your transactions, right? Like that, some X reasons. So I'm putting, so those two fields are read only. Only the current balance can be updated in this field, so they can change the figure. They can click on update account button. Once they do update account, I'm calling an action called update action. So again it will search, does anybody registered with update action? So here is what I'm doing. So if I make it to change 90009, if I make it 90009, if you click on this, it will search does anybody as having with update action. So if I perform yes, then it will update it in the database. Let me show you. So who is registered with update action? Let's go to web.xml file. Anybody registered with update action? Yes, there is a servlet called update bank account servlet. Okay. So here what I am doing, I am retrieving. So what fields I need, for which customer I need to update, and what bank balance I have to update. I need these two parameters. I don't need the name of customer, because if I have a account number is enough. And then here I am writing update command jt.update, and then update bank sets bank balance is how much and where account number is this. So this is actually what you need to follow. So either you need to use a question mark, or either you can use the named parameters, and don't hard code anything directly to in the SQL. Okay, you can pass array of values. Okay, the first the question mark value is balance, and for the second question mark value will be replaced by account number. Then this update query was executed in the database, then immediately it will return back to the same JSP using the request dispatcher mechanism. Okay. Any questions on the updates and inserts if you have? Okay, sounds good. So moving on into the next is the last action is delete accounts. The moment if you call delete account, so there is a page which will be open delete.jsp. So okay, so simply I'm saying that so delete your account information. So, and if you enter your account number, then delete. So action will be called, then it will delete it. So which action? Delete action. So only your account number you are entering. So who is associated with the delete action? There is a servlet associated with the delete bank account servlet. If you open this, okay, if you open this, so here I am reading a request parameter as bank account, and jt.execute method I am using delete from bank where account number is this guy, then delete from this database. That's all. So record will be permanently deleted from the database. Okay. So that's all about all the different various operations to build these applications. I think so we have seen all the JSPs, web.xml file, Spring configuration file, all the Java classes. That's it. So very simple code, and to build a small application. Right? Any questions?
Srini, what is the default pool size for Spring for data source? Srini, what is the default connection pool size for this data source object?
I think yes. So I have to look at so what is the default size, but I have not seen that because it's not really used in production environment or anywhere. So this is nowhere useful actually. We don't use this. So just only for learning purpose. Yes, you can refer this. And in the real world, what you will be using is the server provided database configuration, so pool configuration. That is what we will actually use this, right? So that I will show you in the upcoming sessions. But so basically this is only for learning purpose. It's not really for production environment. So this will be not recommended to use in any production aspects. If you really want to do the deep dive of to understand about more other details, you can always refer about this class. Getting me what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is, I think even you can also see here, this is not recommended to production environments only for learning or for our until your dev environment, but in the real world you can replace with this J&A approach. Okay, so you can use your custom data sources. So here is the API documentation for you to understand about more details, what connection parameters so you can supply. So here if you see, this is not an actual connection pool. Okay, it does not actually pool the connections. It just serves a simple replacement of pull down connection pool. So internally they have some logic of connection pool. It is not your original pool of connection pool which will be given by the server, but internally they will try to have a kind of a dummy environment of connection pool where it will generate you a logical connection pool. It will return as a data source. That is what they have clearly mentioned here. You can also refer this note. Okay, but best approach is recommended to use is usually, however, we will follow in the real world application to configuring your data source in the server configuration file, server context.xml file, where we will configure and we will use the server support of connection pool. That would be recommended in the productions environment. For learning, just you can use this. And until dev environment also you can use this.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Any other questions? Sounds good. Okay. So yes, now going back to the application. So whatever application I developed, which I have not really followed any standards. Okay, I have not really followed any standards with intentionally. So this is not the right way to design up your application in the real world standards. Okay, so I have intentionally hard coded all my HTML code here. I've intentionally hard coded the IDs here. Okay, I want you to do some work on this application. I want you to perform some additional activities on this application. I want you to make, okay, this application is more dynamic. Okay, for this I want you to give some practice for you to practice. So here are the list of 6 steps I have given you to handle this application more diligently. The first step what I want you to do is refactor all the HTML code from servlets to JSPs. I don't want to see any HTML code in any of the Java class. Any of the servlets should not contain any HTML code, because the main purpose of the servlet is not to write any HTML code. That's where they have given a concept of JSPs. JSPs are to display your dynamic web pages. Dynamic web pages. So I want you to refactor all this code, move to your JSPs, and your servlet should only contains your plain database communication code, and rest it should be redirected to using request dispatcher mechanism. It should be redirected to JSP. That JSP should be able to display this data. Okay, so you have to clean up all the servlets, whichever the servlets I have written. So all the servlets should be cleaned up with this code. So I want you to clean up all this and then refactor, then write everything into JSP. That is the step number 1. And the second step is, if you see, I'm saying this is a bank application. Okay, if this is my bank application, the minimum need for my bank application. So if you see, I have a customer of Amit. Okay, and so he performed some transaction. Okay, he came next day and is asking to give a transaction report. So give me a last 1 month of my transaction report. Do I have anything for him to give it? Absolutely, because I have only bank accounts. If I gave you this, so he may not really accept. So he may not really accept like what type of transaction he did, how many times he is deposited, how many times of which is withdrawal. I'm not really doing that, right? So for to fulfill that requirement, I want you to add a table called bank underscore transaction underscore history. So whenever there is any transaction is happening, make sure that so that you should be entering all the records into the history also. And then you need to add your one link called transaction history, or maybe statement request, or maybe a report, whatever link that you feel that it is convenient, add that link. So once if you select that link, so if I select that link, and then if you select the dates, and then if you select the customer name, so you should be able to export a transaction report. So at least you should be able to see all these details here. So, or if you are capable to do that, you can also generate a PDF or Excel or CSV, anything, then you can send it to him. Okay. That is the second thing, so what I want you to perform. And the other important thing, third, which is very minimum need, basic need, which is needing, okay, which is missing on this application. What is that is? Suppose, like, let's say I have an Ankur, like, so he want to perform some transaction, right? So, and Ankur ID was, account number is 1002. So when he's performing, so he want to withdraw some 9,400 rupees. He want to withdraw. But if he is going to be withdrawing, his request was 9,400 from 60,000. If it is withdrawn from 9,400, how much bank balance? Maybe I am very weak in maths. So I have to open my calculator. I have to use another application in order to perform this. So I have to open a calculator. So suppose if he is a bank employee, he is really, okay, not capable to performing a mathematic, or maybe for sensitive operations, right? So, and so if it is 60,000, and then so dot, so 89, so he want to withdraw from 9,400 from his account. Then so this is what he has to edit this, right? Generally these are all sensitive operations. You should not, okay, allow to do all these calculations. What I want you to do is display current balance as it is. Don't give the permission to edit here. Add a new field called withdrawal, and add one more field called deposit. Okay, once you select a withdraw field, automatically your deposit field should be disabled. If you select a, okay, deposit field, automatically withdraw field should be disabled. He should able to enter the value any of the field only. Suppose if he is entered in withdrawal, and then write a internal, so in the application or in your servlet, write a business logic for to minus current balance minus, because he's withdrawing, you have to use operation of minus current balance minus withdrawal amount. Then what was the leftover amount, and then that you need to update. Suppose if he's, okay, over withdrawing, and you need to return error message saying that so you are exceeding the limit, you are not authorized, or you don't have a sufficient balance, you can display that error message. So these are all the business steps which I want you to handle in the backend. Okay, so that is about this step. Okay, if he is depositing, I want you to perform internally plus operation. I don't want to bank employee to do all these things, but opening a new application, everything we have to provide in this page. And then so once he is entered that detail, so once he is update, then you should be able to update it. That is the step number 3. And the 4th step, if you see success, okay, in generally, once suppose, like, let's say he is withdrawing, okay, and then his balance is become, okay, so his balance is become so this much. Okay, and if he is updating, where is the success message? Am I getting any notification that your account is updated or not updated or failed or got some error message? How do I know this? Until unless if I'm going back to one more step, I'm not really knowing that his balance was updated. So wherever the notification messages are missed as success messages or failure messages, I want you to be handling that. So there should be a pop-up, or there should be maybe a message which should be displayed on the above this page saying that so your transaction is successfully submitted, or your transaction is successfully completed, whatever, okay, you feel that a convenient message, and add that. Okay, that's all related to your transactions. And coming back to the fifth step, so while opening a new account, can any bank can accept only your name? Can they open your accounts? Absolutely not, right? So at least you have to provide certain details before you register as an account. What details? Okay, so opening a new account, so you need an address and your personal identification information, like maybe your Aadhaar number, your PAN card, right? So your date of birth, okay, and so all your the identification, the details, the personal details also should be captured in the database. And I want you to expand this table, and I want you to add all the columns, required columns, and then you can add one more table called address. Okay, address I don't want to capture you here, and address I want you to capture so the other one, new table, and then add the address. Then whenever you save the address should be saved there, personal information should be stored in the bank table. Okay, so then so your page also should be designed like that. So here first give a header like personal information, where you should fill all the details. In the bottom, okay, give the address and all of the details, and finally in the bottom write a open account. Once if you click on that button open account, then your account should be opened, new account. Then we are sufficient information we have captured before opening a new account. Okay, but not for the least. So the very important thing, I don't want, because the banking applications are a sensitive applications, I don't want anybody to directly access the application. It should be a minimum authorized and authenticated before logging into this system. Okay, and what I want you to implement is, I want you to implement a sign in and sign up. Suppose if you are a first time user, you need to sign up by registering your personal details, and then so you need to sign up. Then you can so like you are a bank employee, assume that so you are a bank employee, you are authorized for only certain operations so you can perform, right? So and what you can do, you can give a sign up page if you want whatever the fields of which you would like for sign up, you can give those details and then sign up it. For this you need to add a new table called login. Okay, in that there you should able to insert a records for login. So whenever he is doing a sign in, when he enter username and password, same table refer for login username and password. If it is matching, then only you can allow to view this page. And here somewhere you can give the logout button. Once you log out from the system, you should be able to sign out from the system. Okay, so if you design this everything, and whatever you are going to be performing until the 6 steps, okay, so do use everything using Spring JDBC for all the backend operations. And front-end design, some people are excited to use AngularJS. If you are familiar, please go ahead and use. Okay, if you are familiar with any UI framework, and you can use it. If you want to use, you can use Bootstrap. Whatever you are familiar, you can use it. You can design in more, okay, passionate on this application. So if you fit all these features in your application, so this is become a small scale product. You are building a small scale product, and at the same time you are learning, okay, and then so you are also able to build a new application, right? So that's a small scale product. If you add day by day, one by one feature, you can also sell your product to the markets, right? So that's the overall idea about this application. I know, so you have many things that you can do. As part of all this practice, you can learn so much of your Spring core plus JDBC features you can learn from this. Does it make sense to all of you? I know many people are getting late, so Prashant is getting late, she is left. Okay, so I know others also might be getting late. So I hope this application makes sense to you all to practice and fit on. So refer this project, look at, and then understand. I've explained you, I've not made really anything complicated. I made it very simple, and now you can make it complicated by applying of all these features. Okay. With that said, I think that is the pretty much knowledge about Spring JDBC. And if you complete all this, you can be full-fledged and you can refer all the documents. And starting from next session, I will be launching our next roadmap is Spring MVC application. So later we will try to see how this application can be migrated to MVC standards. Right now I'm not following any MVC standards. In the later part, once if you practice all these things, then you can see the importance of MVC application. So why MVC is really important, then you can understand the MVC need. So why we have written code like this and how this has been simplifying in the MVC, you will really come to know. At least I would recommend before you to come into the next session, at least you can complete a 50% of the operations before you attending the next session, so that you will actually see the importance of your your MVC approaches. Okay, so if you see that, so there is anything which you want to really look at in JDBC, please have a look at, and then if you have any questions, and let me know. Okay. All right. So with that said, that's it. I have a good day to all of you, and see you on the next session. Bye bye. Have a good night.